Kia ora tātou. I'm going to start with 3 minutes of videos and hopefully they tell the story. So when I run out of time, you're left with a lasting reminder of those 3 minutes at least. Kia ora maestro. My people of Te Whānau Apanui believe that it's important for us to be able to control our own destiny. That's mana motuhake for us. It's what's happened over the last 2 years is that by working with government officials and them working with us, we have been able to access data that means something to us. In the long run, it means we get better investment in hauora, in our health. In the long run, it means we get better investment in our housing, and that's what we want to see.
2020, we couldn't find anywhere to rent at the time. We lived in our tents for about 5 or 6 months. Uncle Willie came to us and he told us that they were starting up a housing scheme. This is our new whare, our whare hau. So we're on gas and solar.
It's like a light at the end of the tunnel for a start. When the kaupapa first got spoken about, so I was like sitting there one morning and I said to Hey Tai, hang on, I'll just pinch myself, babe.
But it was just different to be in the house again. I thought I'd be renting for the rest of my life, really. It's a dream come true to sort of to own your own home, on your own whenua.
Data is important. Data underpins the needs of our whānau, and when we understand the needs, it's easier for us to plan on how we deliver on those needs.
When I heard that our whānau in Te Karaka were up in the hills, I was like, oh my God, what's happening with our whānau? And because with no comms, we didn't know what was happening.
Whole maize just raised to the ground, and to see the water and the silt all the way around our house. Probably the biggest thing was the water. It was full in here. You couldn't even get in.
I felt the pain of the whenua, the pain of the people.
And so it was devastating to see her covered in silt and mud, and yeah. But now it's good. We've been getting through the last parts of the cleanup, which is just airing the whare out and making sure that we get the silt and the mud off to be able to clean her.
Absolutely privileged to be here. Every stroke that I take, every bit of dirt, I just feel privileged, and I just want to, you know, just try and heal some of the pain. It's not my marae. I'm not even from Tairāwhiti. I'm from the north, but I just feel the pain.
We had people come all that way. Yeah, it was great. And the clean-up that they did, it makes it easier to come back.
To the topic that I'm going to cover. We know there are problems out there, houselessness and poverty. Own it, do something about it. Start with your own whānau, your hapu and your community. Don't be a fucking moaner. Don't be an espouser of theories that you won't drive. Momo timer. Set targets based on your people. So you saw my people there. We're not resilient, we're hurting. We will get resilience, but it's not at the moment. So the unrealistic timeframes that they set were, I met with them on the 27th of February, there were 64 of them still in our area school. I got off the stage at Matatini on the Saturday. I dropped my people off in Hamilton on the Sunday morning, and then I was down in Te Karaka where I've lived for the last 5 weeks. And so I went to see the whānau. And yep, one of the uncles has a crack straight away. Haven't seen you for a while, boy. Yeah, uncle, I've been tied up with live-ins on the weekends. And he goes, oh, well, you're here now. I want certainty. I said, kapai, what does certainty look like for you, uncle? If you give me certainty, I'll move out of this school, this classroom. I'll move into one of those emergency housing. I said, kapai, uncle, what's a date that suits you? And he goes, oh, I think 3 months is realistic for you to get 100 houses up. I said, I can do that. What else? He goes, well, you get our houses fixed too. We don't want to be in temporary. We want to be in our homes. We want them fixed up. I said, ka pai, I'll do that, uncle. And everyone was happy, and he packed his bags and he sat in his car ready to move that morning. Our people want hope. They want certainty. They want leadership. They don't want people that moan about the problems. They don't want people that have got great theories but they're never going to test them. Hey, all of us in here, we're the solution. The government's never going to be the solution for us. We are the solution. We are the answer to our people. No one else is ever going to save us but us. That's my key message. I come from Raukokore. I Googled it. All they showed was a church. But that's our lovely church. But in that church, it's my family, the Sterling family. And my grandparents are by a tomb. And in that tomb, 38 people are buried. And they died of the Spanish flu in 1918. Okay? Only we give a shit about us. No Pākehā system ever gives a shit about us. And here's the proof of it. 107 died in Aotearoa in that time period. All Māori. 38 from my marae. Okay? No one gives a shit about us. Certainly not a Pākehā system. We're the solution. Not anyone else. There is no great hope. We're the hope. We're the solution. We're the leader. The importance of tikanga. I hear people, waving flags and talking about tikanga. Let's see if we're the same idea of tikanga. In Te Whānau Apanui, we believe that you can put a rāhui over something you don't own. You can't put a rāhui over something you don't own. This is Rikirangi's rohe. Oh, actually, the whole of Whānau Apanui is his rohe. Ngāti Pro as well. They say when that rohe is closed to fishing. No one else. My cousin Louis Rapihana, this is his radical area. But our law, LAW, is our tikanga. And we believe that. And we practice that. There is no subordinate called LORE. That's some construct people put up to kind of not conflict with the Pākehā law. The Pākehā law has no mana in our area. We're the mana. And it's not about the land ownership we have. It's about the belief that we have, that we're the mana. And so they put this up. Suffered a tragedy when they had a teacher, whānau, and children died as they crossed the Motu River in 1900. And they put this up. There is no fishing in that area since then on Rā, or the 11th and 12th of each month. There is no fishing on our hāpati, on our Sabbath on the Saturday. We don't go by Pākehā law. We are the law. We are the mana. Our problem is 99% of our people don't believe that. They think the Pākehā system's the way. It's not. But we've got to walk our talk. We do big talks and big things about what mana is, and then we go and play the game, and we subordinate ourselves to someone else's law, someone else's tikanga. Here's our beautiful cousin from Louis Rapihana's marae. Here's our tikanga in action. There's a tangihanga on at Marae Nui Marae. You've got to drive past the marae to go fishing. She puts it out there. There's no fishing on that river. And if you're caught fishing, it'll be confiscated and given to the hapu. And if you're fishing there, your tyres will be slashed if it's on a 12th or if it's on a Saturday. Those are his cray-cray people from Marae Nui. Hey. But my point is, don't talk about tikanga unless you're clear on what it is and you walk that tikanga. That's the point of this slide. This is from Arnie McDonald's rohe. NZTA said, oh no, you can't do that. You cannot claim that land. So what my cousin did, is he put a kaitiaki station on that land. And that kaitiaki station is still there, and even though he's died, his children mow it, they look after that fence, and they maintain the integrity of that tikanga. We don't ask anyone about a rāhui. Louis put out a pānui and he said, Tipene Mangi died on whakari. We need to support the rāhui that Mātātua is putting on. And we put it on the next day. Our 13 hapu agreed. We're the mana. We don't go to fisheries or anyone else to ask if we can do what we've always done. And this was December, January, when we had a rāhui there too. No diving, no swimming, at the hottest time of the year where people come back to get kai moana. But we've got to walk our talk. Yeah, rates. So the previous chairman for our hapu, he got made bankrupt and he still farms his land. He still doesn't pay rates. Okay? So what, when you talk about tikanga and following your tikanga and upholding our tikanga, just be clear on what you're talking about. Okay? The council system is not our system. It's not of our making. The council and the civil defence system failed us miserably. My people were left to die on a hill for 3 days. No comms, no water, no food. Pākehā systems are never set up for us. And then what I do is I work with our other 12 hapu in Te Whānau Apanui to make sure that there's no divide and rule. Okay? And so this is where I trespass all council workers from coming to inspect our properties and issue notice to fix on our houses. We've got 200 houses in Apanui that have no building permits, And then they're sticking our houses with permits, and if you do anything to those houses, you run the risk of a $200,000 fine. So I trespassed them all. And I said, if you come on, you will be forcibly removed from our land within our hapu area. Full stop. We're the mana here, not you. Okay. Kai. We've got to grow our own. People have been saying it. I'm not a gardener, I'm not a horticulture person, but I got tipu from Mangatu, and I got kānga from my whanaunga in Rongo Whakata. Planted the manuka, then tested the kumara in between. Someone said it could work, so I gave it a go. And then the kānga mā, and then that's our kumara that we grew there as well. I'm a lawyer, I'm not a horticultural person. Anyone can do this. And the watercress and creating our own ponds and our systems that we can, at our pokai for my wife's people, at Pohara, they feed 300 to 500 people, and it all comes from the ponds that we've created for watercress. For my hapu in Raukokore, 15,000 was in the bank. Our turnover was 1,000, and the first person we employed in April 2018, we paid $1,000 a month. So we're not a big iwi organisation. We're a hapu. We drive it by our hapu, and we work on whatever means that we can to get the outcomes we're after. So now we have bought an engineering company. This engineering company is called Maru Social Development. The acronym is MSD. Okay. We will take over MSD. We've had enough in my tribe of intergenerational feeding of poverty. But if you don't aspire to be it, you'll never be it. So my nephew runs our engineering company. We do domestic water supply. Just to be clear, Rob Ruha comes from Raukokore. Okay? He might sing about Hicks Bay and live in Te Kaha and carry the Highway 35. Here's his home in Raukokore. And the trade-off was I used one of his songs on one of our videos, the one that you heard before. And so I provided the water and he gave me use of that music. We do roading as well for our orchards that we have established. So we've established 40 hectares of kiwi fruit, and we've done 20 hectares of organic macadamia as well. And that's housing near one of our stations, and you can see our orchards in the background. And so you can see the water tanks there, so there'll be another 4 houses that are going into that spot as well. 2 of them are there, and another 2 to go. Just a snapshot of our housing program in the 10 minutes I have left. Here's an example of a family in 15th of June. Looked at designs that suited them, because we had houselessness was a challenge for us. That's the area where our church is that you see the photo of, and that's the block that we were working with. You don't have to be an architect. Love my mate Ro Hoskins, but I drew those lines. Okay. And then the problem was that this block had no trustees. My uncle died 20 years ago. So I appointed 2 of my cousins, a first cousin and a nephew, Tākena Sterling, named after our ancestor. There's the licence to occupy on the right-hand side. I wrote that up, and that's the appointment on the left-hand side before Judge Harvey. Does it apply to general land? My cousin Arnie down here, these are her lands. That's her late dad, who signed off for housing to go on their general land. Does this apply to Crown land? Yes. So I leased this land for $1. We've got 6 houses on it so far, and I've promised to include the land in our treaty settlement. But I won't. We'll put 15 houses in there, and then eventually they'll give it back. Otherwise I'll say, oh, get rid of those natives. Hey. And people say, oh, you're dishonourable. Sorry, we're talking about the Crown. No. So here's the profile of my cousin, 50 years young, 11 children. I have to go around to my whānau and emotionally blackmail them. I say, Cuzzy, you got great orchard skills. We're doing 40 hectares of kiwi fruit. Don't live in a portiki and pay rent. Come home. Will you have a house? Yes. Will I have a job? Yes. So he committed to move home back in March 2019. No credit rating. The hapu paid the power. Combined income of $38,600. Couldn't earn more than at that time, otherwise they lose their family benefit credits or tax credits. So on that, he's in a house now, paying $250 a week plus $25 for insurance, and in 15 years he'll have paid off his house. The floor plan, July. So June we started, and in August, Nanaia came and opened that house. I'm not a housing developer. Hey, I'm a person who gets our people into houses. I'm a person who doesn't like talking about plans. We already know what the problem is. We don't need to have research into what the problem is. I see the problem. They're living in tents, cow sheds, overcrowding, in places that have no power or running water. So I've never ever put up a research application or a feasibility study. I'll put up, here's my whānau, this is what they need, this is what they can afford, please support. And that's what we've become now, is that we've got our Maru Order Limited. It's at 11.85 million, and that's been transferred to Toitu Tairāwhiti. We've got a river irrigation company, 10.6 million. We've got horticulture company, 894,000. We've got a joint venture in the kiwi fruit, and we bought into an aquaculture company. So from 15,000 in 2018, 5 years later, this is what we're doing. Okay. There's comments about, sucking up to the Crown. I'll suck up to anyone that's going to get the resource to help my people. Hey, I don't really care about anyone's label. I'm driven by my people. My people love me most of the time. Okay? The people I come across, not so much. Okay? Because I'm unrelentless. in terms of my determination to get the outcomes that best suit my people. We have a water truck, so we have a problem that the fire service will no longer deliver water to our houses. So we had to buy a 8,000 litre water truck to supply water to our houses. Okay. And research, and that's our kiwi fruit, and those are our mussels that we research. I just want to acknowledge, there's many I could acknowledge, but I want to acknowledge Ben Dalton. I don't know if he's in this room. But the Provincial Growth Fund was a godsend for us in rural areas. It allowed us to put all that investment that I showed you into where it matters most. The last investment we got like that was in the time of Apira Ngata. And so I'm very thankful to Ben. I'm thankful to Kararaina Calcott Crib. What she wisely did was said, well, if you're creating jobs, do you have the houses? I said no. She provided the houses. That was her with Nanaya in that photo on the 31st of August 2020. Okay? So I'm not looking at housing solutions. I'm looking at whānau solutions. That's what my focus is, and getting the best outcome for our whānau, driven by our whānau. Okay, what shall I skim to? Yeah, same problems across the motu. That was in November 2020, and then we had the opening of that house and our program that went with it. I'm going to finish there. You get the point, is that there is huge need, but all of us in here, we're the solution. And we should be uncompromising in terms of delivering for our people. The government is never going to be the solution. The government is part of how we can work towards achieving a solution for our people. But be bold, disrupt, because that's the only way we're going to get the outcomes that our people need. Kia ora tātou.